My dear sisters, there are sisters today who sit in their rooms and wonder, why do I have nobody? Why does everyone else have friends, groups, laughter, messages, and I sit alone? But my dear sister, listen carefully, loneliness is not always a sign that Allah has abandoned you. Sometimes it is a sign that Allah wants to protect your heart. Not every hand you hold is meant to walk with you forever. Some people enter your life only to teach you that your attachment should be to Allah alone. You cry because people left you, but perhaps Allah removed them because He loves you more than you realize. You wanted company, but Allah wanted to save your peace. You wanted attention, but Allah wanted your connection with Him. And remember, the strongest people are not always the loudest people. Sometimes the strongest woman is the one who wipes her tears alone, raises her hands in dua at night, and still says, Ya Allah, I trust you. Never think your worth is measured by how many friends you have. Your value is not in people running after you. Your value is in your closeness to Allah. There are people surrounded by crowds, yet their hearts are empty, and there are people sitting alone whose hearts are full of light because they know Allah is with them. So if today you feel alone, pray more. Speak to Allah more. Cry to Him more. Because when people disappear, Allah remains. And Wallahi, the one who created your heart knows exactly how to heal it. There are moments in life when a woman sits by herself and wonders whether her loneliness means she has been forgotten. She watches others surrounded by friends, receiving messages, being invited, laughing together, sharing memories together. And slowly her heart begins to whisper painful thoughts. Maybe there is something wrong with me. Maybe I am not important enough. Maybe Allah has left me alone. But my dear sister, never allow loneliness to convince you that Allah has abandoned you. The feeling of being alone and the reality of being abandoned are two completely different things. Sometimes Allah removes the noise around you because He wants you to hear something your heart was ignoring for too long. You see, people often connect happiness to company. They think if they have many friends, many conversations, many people around them, then they must be valuable. But wallahi, there are people who are constantly surrounded, netted by others, yet they feel deeply empty inside. And there are people sitting alone in their rooms whose hearts are filled with peace because they have a connection with Allah. The world measures your worth by attention, but Allah measures your worth by your sincerity, your patience, your faith, and your character. Never forget that some of the most beloved people to Allah walk through painful loneliness. Look at Maryam, A.S. There were moments she stood completely alone, carrying burdens nobody around her could understand. Look at the Prophet Muhammad, Arabic Sada, Arabic Lam, Arabic Laf Maksura, Arabic Laf, Arabic Lam, Arabic Lam, Arabic Lam, Arabic Lam, Arabic La. Arabic Lam, Arabic Lam, Arabic Lam, Arabic Lam, Arabic Lam, Arabic Lam, Arabic Mim, after losing Khadija, Are, and Abu Talib. There were moments of deep sadness and isolation, yet Allah never abandoned him for a second. In fact, sometimes the people Allah loves the most are taken through seasons of loneliness so they can become stronger, wiser, softer in heart, and closer to Him. Perhaps the people you miss were removed because Allah saw what you could not see. Sometimes we cry over closed doors while Allah is protecting us from pain hidden behind those doors. There are friendships that slowly damage your heart, weaken your iman, exhaust your emotions, and pull you away from peace. Yet because we fear loneliness, we hold on to people who are not good for us. Allah in His mercy may remove certain people not to break you, but to save you. My dear sister, your loneliness is not proof that you are unloved. Allah hears every tear that falls from your eyes. He knows the nights you feel invisible. He knows the ache in your chest when you wonder why nobody checks on you. And He is closer to you than anyone you are searching for. Sometimes Allah allows you to feel alone among people so you stop depending entirely on people. Because human beings will disappoint you. They change. They become distant. They forget. But Allah never forgets. This is why your loneliness can become something beautiful if you use it correctly. Instead of letting it destroy you, let it bring you closer to Allah. Speak to Him in sujood. Pour your heart out in dua. Read the Quran not as a routine but as healing for your soul. You will begin to realize that the emptiness inside your heart was never meant to be filled by people alone. It was always meant to be filled with the remembrance of Allah. And remember something very important. Being alone does not mean you are behind in life. Some people are isolated because Allah is preparing them for something greater. A seed is buried alone before it grows into something beautiful. Your current season may feel silent, but silence is not the end of your story. Allah can send the right people into your life at the right time. He can replace sadness with tranquility in ways you cannot imagine. So never sit there believing Allah has abandoned you simply because people have become distant. Sometimes Allah empties your surroundings so your heart can become full of Him. And wallahi, when Allah fills your heart with His love, even loneliness begins to feel like peace. There are people who fear silence because silence forces them to face themselves. The moment the phone becomes quiet, the messages stop coming and the room feels empty, they become uncomfortable. They immediately search for noise, for distractions, for people to fill the emptiness. But my dear sister, sometimes Allah places you in silence because He wants you to discover a version of yourself that the noise of the world was hiding. Not every quiet season is meant to break you. Some quiet seasons are meant to rebuild you. When life becomes crowded with people, opinions, expectations and cons, with taunt attention, we slowly lose touch with our own hearts. We become so busy pleasing others that we forget who we are in front of Allah. We begin living according to people's approval instead of Allah's guidance. But solitude has a strange way of removing the masks. When you are alone, you begin to see your heart clearly. You begin to notice what truly matters to you, what hurts you, what heals you, and what kind of connection you really have with Allah. Sometimes Allah takes away certain distractions because He wants your attention back. You were giving your energy to everyone else, but your soul was becoming weak. Your heart was becoming tired. Your iman was becoming neglected. So Allah slows your life down. He removes some people. He creates distance. He allows silence to enter your world, not because He hates you, but because He loves you enough to pull you back toward Him. And wallahi, some of the deepest transformations happen in loneliness. When there is nobody to run to, you finally raise your hand sincerely to Allah. When nobody fully understands your pain, you begin speaking to the one who understands every hidden feeling inside your chest. There are two you make in oneliness that come from the deepest part of your soul. There are tears that fall in solitude that Allah loves because they are sincere and seen by nobody except Him. The world teaches you to fear being alone, but Islam teaches you the beauty of being connected to Allah even in isolation. Look at the Prophet Muhammad. Arabic Sada, Arabic Lam, Arabic Alif Maksara, Arabic Alif, Arabic Lam, Arabic Lam, Arabicata, 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 Arabiquata, 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 Arabic Meme. Before revelation came, he would spend time alone in the cave of Hira, away from the noise of society, reflecting deeply. Why? Because solitude allows the heart to think clearly. It softens the soul. It creates space for reflection, sincerity and closeness to Allah. My dear sister, your loneliness may actually be an invitation from Allah. An invitation to rediscover yourself beyond people's opinions. An invitation to heal from emotional dependence. An invitation to strengthen your relationship with the Quran, with prayer, with dua, and with your Creator. Sometimes Allah removes the crowd around you so you can hear your own soul again. And do not underestimate the healing that can happen in quiet moments. Some people spend years surrounded by company but never truly grow because they are constantly escaping themselves. But the woman who learns how to sit alone with, hail peace, who learns how to enjoy Allah's remembrance in private, who learns how to find comfort in prayer rather than validation from people, that woman becomes emotionally strong. She stops begging for attention because she realizes her worth already comes from Allah. Silence also teaches you something very important. Not everyone deserves access to your heart. In your lonely season, you begin to understand the difference between people who genuinely care and people who are only present for convenience. Allah sometimes clears your circle so you stop confusing temporary companionship with real sincerity. And perhaps the most beautiful thing about solitude is that it teaches you that Allah is enough. When the world becomes quiet, His words in the Quran begin to speak louder to your heart. When people disappoint you, your trust in Allah becomes stronger. When you stop depending entirely on human beings for happiness, you discover a peace that people cannot take away from you. So do not curse every lonely moment in your life. Some of those lonely nights are shaping your character, purifying your heart, and bringing you closer to Jannah. The silence you hate today may become the V. Your heart becomes stronger tomorrow. Because sometimes Allah removes the noise of the world so your soul can finally hear the mercy of its Creator. One of the most painful lessons a person learns in life is that not every friendship is meant to last forever. Sometimes we meet people and believe they will remain beside us for years, perhaps forever. We laugh with them, trust them, share our secrets with them, and slowly we become emotionally attached. Then one day things change. Conversations become shorter. Effort disappears. Distance grows. and suddenly the person you thought would never leave becomes a memory. That pain can feel unbearable, especially when your heart was sincere. But my dear sister, you must understand something very important. Not every goodbye is a tragedy, and not every person who leaves your life was meant to stay in your destiny. Allah brings people into your life for different reasons. Some people are blessings that remain for years, and others are lessons that only stay for a season. The problem is that we become attached to temporary people as though they were permanent. We expect human beings to give us a stability that only Allah can provide. Then when they change, disappoint us or leave, our hearts break because we built too much of our emotional world around them. But look carefully at your life. Sometimes the people you cried over losing were actually people who were slowly damaging your peace. Some friendships begin beautifully but eventually become unhealthy. They drain your energy, increase your anxiety, weaken your iman, encourage gossip, jealousy, competition, or emotional dependence. Yet because you fear loneliness, you keep holding on to them. You keep trying to fix a relationship Allah may already be removing from your life. And this is why you must never think that every ending is punishment. Sometimes Allah ends certain connections because He knows where they would eventually lead you. You see today's pain, but Allah sees tomorrow's protection. You see the loneliness after losing someone, but Allah sees the peace that will come once the influence leaves your heart. The Prophet Muhammad Arabicsa the Arabiclam 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 taught us the importance of good companionship because the people around you affect your soul more than you realize. A friendship is not valuable simply because it exists for a long time. A friendship is valuable when it brings you closer to Allah, strengthens your character, protects your dignity, and supports you during difficult moments. Some people stay in your life for years but leave wounds in your heart, while others enter briefly and leave wisdom, kindness, and goodness behind. My dear sister, do not destroy yourself trying to force people to stay. Human hearts change, priorities change, life changes. And sometimes Allah separates people because their paths are no longer meant to continue together. There are friendships you mourn today that you will later thank Allah for removing. At the moment you only feel the loss, but later you may realize how much emotional exhaustion, sadness, or confusion those connections were causing you. And remember this carefully. Your value does not decrease because someone walked away from you. Many people begin to question themselves after losing friends. They think, maybe I was not enough. Maybe I was too quiet, too emotional, too different. No, my dear sister. Not every separation means you failed. Sometimes two people simply no longer belong in the same chapter of life. Even the purest hearts experience abandonment from people. That does not mean you make them worthless. What matters most is how you respond to these endings. Do not allow bitterness to grow inside your heart. Do not let one broken friendship make you hate everyone. Instead, learn the lesson with maturity. Thank Allah for the good moments, forgive what hurt you, and continue moving forward with dignity. The strongest people are not those who never lose anyone. The strongest people are those who lose people yet still protect the softness of their hearts. And wallahi, when Allah removes someone from your life, He is fully capable of replacing them with better companionship at the right time. But before He sends the right people, He often teaches you not to depend entirely on people for your happiness. Because friendships are blessings, but they were never meant to become your source of emotional survival. That place belongs to Allah alone. So if someone left your life, do not spend years chasing closed doors. Some friendships were only meant to teach you a lesson, help you grow, or redirect your heart back toward Allah. Trust that every separation carries wisdom, even if your heart does not understand it immediately. Sometimes what feels like a painful ending is actually Allah making space for a more peaceful beginning. We live in a world where many women begin to measure their worth through attention. If people constantly message them, invite them, praise them, or surround them, they feel valuable. But if they sit alone, if their phone is quiet, if nobody checks on them often, they begin to feel invisible. Slowly the heart starts believing a dangerous lie. If I am alone, then I must not matter. But my dear sister, your value was never created by people, and it will never be destroyed by people. Your worth does not rise because someone chooses you, and it does not fall because someone walks away from you. Allah did not create you to spend your life begging for validation from human beings. Human beings are unstable. Their attention changes with mood, convenience, benefit, and time. Today they praise you, tomorrow they forget you. If you build your self-worth on people's opinions, your heart will constantly live in insecurity because people themselves are constantly changing. But when your value comes from Allah, it becomes stable, peaceful, and untouchable. The world teaches women that popularity is power. Social media teaches them too. The more attention they receive, the more beautiful, important, or successful they are. So people begin competing for visibility. They become obsessed with being noticed, accepted, and admired. But wallahi, some of the most emotionally exhausted people are those constantly seeking approval from others. Why? Because no amount of human attention can heal a heart disconnected from Allah. My dear sister, you must understand how honored you already are in the sight of Allah. Allah created you with purpose. Allah hears your voice when nobody else listens. Allah sees your tears even when you hide them from everyone. Allah records your patience, your prayers, your struggles, and your sincerity. Is the opinion of people really greater than the attention of the one who created the heavens and the earth? A woman's value is not in how many friends surround her. It is not in how many compliments she receives. It is not in how desired she appears to the world. Some women are surrounded by crowds yet feel deeply lonely because nobody truly loves them sincerely. And some women sit quietly with very few people around them yet possess hearts full of peace, dignity, and closeness to Allah. Do not ever lower yourself just to feel accepted. Some women tolerate disrespect, fake friendships, toxic relationships, and emotional manipulation because they fear being alone. They would rather be surrounded by the wrong people than sit by themselves. But there is honor in protecting your peace. There is dignity in walking away from people who damage your heart. You were not created to chase people until they see your value. The right people will recognize your worth without you destroying yourself to prove it. And remember this carefully. The most valuable things in life are often hidden, protected, and quiet. Diamonds are buried deep beneath the earth. Pearls are hidden inside shells. Likewise, a woman who protects her dignity, guards her heart, and remains sincere with Allah possesses a beauty that attention from people can never create. The danger of attaching your worth to people is that rejection begins to destroy your identity. The moment someone ignores you, leaves you, or replaces you, your confidence collapses. But when your worth is rooted in Allah, rejection no longer defines you. You understand that human beings rejecting you does not mean Allah has rejected you. Eternity's Allah removes you from certain circles because He wants to preserve your purity, your peace, or your future. My dear sister, stop comparing your life to others. Not everyone who appears socially successful is emotionally fulfilled. Some people laugh publicly while crying privately every night. Social media only shows you moments, not realities. Your journey with Allah is personal. Focus on becoming a woman of sincerity, kindness, modesty, patience, and faith. Those qualities are more valuable than temporary popularity. And wallahi, when a woman truly understands her value in the sight of Allah, she stops begging for love from people who cannot even love themselves properly. She becomes emotionally stronger. She learns to walk away from disrespect. She stops chasing attention because she realizes peace is more valuable than being constantly noticed. So if today you feel forgotten by people, do not forget who you are to Allah. You are a servant of the Most Merciful. Your value was written by Allah before people even knew your name. And no amount of loneliness can ever erase the honor Allah has already placed inside you. Sometimes a woman cries because she feels alone, not realizing that her loneliness may actually be protecting her from a much greater pain. We often think that having people around us is always better than being by ourselves. We fear empty spaces, quiet weekends, unanswered messages, and the feeling of isolation. So we hold tightly onto any companionship we can find, even when that companionship slowly damages our hearts. But my dear sister, not every company is a blessing. Some people enter your life carrying confusion, jealousy, negativity, gossip, emotional manipulation, and darkness. And sometimes Allah removes those people from your surroundings not to hurt you, but to save you. There are friendships that look beautiful on the outside yet quietly destroy your peace inside. A toxic friend may smile in front of you while secretly competing with you. They may pretend to support you while constantly draining your energy, criticizing you, or making you feel small. Some friendships pull you away from Allah little by little. They normalize gossip, bad habits, arrogance, backbiting, showing off, and unhealthy behavior until your heart slowly changes without you even realizing it. Yet because you fear loneliness, you continue tolerating. Soul, this is why solitude can sometimes become a mercy from Allah. Being alone is painful, yes, but being surrounded by the wrong people can be even more painful. There are people who leave conversations feeling emotionally exhausted every single time. They smile publicly with their friends but cry privately afterward because deep down they feel unseen, disrespected, or constantly compared. Not every crowd gives comfort. Not every friendship gives peace. The Prophet Muhammad taught us that a person is influenced by the company they keep. Human beings absorb energy, habits, speech, and behavior from those around them. If the people around you constantly pull you toward negativity, eventually your heart becomes heavy too. This is why protecting your environment is also protecting your iman, your emotional well-being, and your future. My dear sister, do not be ashamed of outgrowing certain people. Sometimes Allah raises your awareness and suddenly you realize that some connections are no longer healthy for your heart. You notice how certain people only come to you when they need something. You notice how they disappear during your difficult moments. You fall for how they become uncomfortable with your growth, your modesty, your healing, or your closeness to Allah. And when you begin distancing yourself, loneliness enters your life. But that loneliness may actually be the beginning of your healing. Many women stay trapped in toxic company because they fear being judged for being alone. They would rather remain emotionally drained than sit in silence with themselves. But there is courage in walking away from people who disturb your peace. There is strength in choosing solitude over fake companionship. Protecting your heart is not weakness, it is wisdom. And wallahi, peace is one of the greatest blessings Allah can give a person. Never sacrifice your peace simply to avoid loneliness. Some people are tests disguised as friends. The more access they have to your heart, the more confusion and sadness they bring into your life. Allah sees what you cannot always see. He hears conversations you never hear. He knows intentions hidden behind smiles. So when certain people slowly disappear from your life, do not always assume it is a loss. Sometimes it is divine protection. Your lonely season can become the place where Allah rebuilds you emotionally. Away from toxic influences, your heart begins to heal. You begin thinking more clearly. You reconnect with yourself. You reconnect with Allah. You learn how to enjoy your own company instead of constantly depending on people for comfort. And that emotional independence is powerful because it protects you from settling for harmful relationships out of desperation. This does not mean Islam encourages isolation forever. Human connection is important. Good companionship is a blessing. But there is a difference between healthy companionship and harmful attachment. The right people bring tranquility into your life. They encourage your faith, protect your dignity, support your growth, and sincerely care for your well-being. Toxic people do the opposite. So if Allah has removed certain people from your life and left you in a season of solitude, trust that there may be wisdom behind it. Not every empty space is punishment. Some empty spaces are protection. Some closed doors are mercy. Some lonely nights are healing. And sometimes the peace you discover alone becomes far more beautiful than the chaos you experienced in the wrong company. There are nights when a woman feels completely invisible. She sits alone with tears in her eyes, wondering whether anyone truly understands her pain. She waits for messages that never come. She remembers the people who promised they would never leave, yet somehow they became distant too. In those quiet moments, Shaitan begins whispering dangerous thoughts into her heart. You are alone. Nobody cares about you. Nobody sees your struggle. But my dear sister, even if the entire world turns away from you, never forget one thing. Allah is enough for the one who feels unseen and unheard. Human beings have limits. Even the people who love you cannot fully understand every emotion hidden inside your chest. Sometimes they are distracted by their own problems. Sometimes they fail to notice your sadness. Sometimes they disappoint you without meaning to. This is the nature of human beings. They are imperfect. But Allah is not like His creation. Allah sees every silent tear before it even falls. Allah hears the pain you never explained to anyone. Allah knows the weight you carry while pretending to be strong in front of the world. When Hajar A.S. was left alone in the desert with her child, there was nobody around her, no friends, family, no crowd supporting her, just emptiness, fear and uncertainty. But Allah was there, and because Allah was there, what looked impossible became a miracle. Water came from where nobody expected it. Relief came when everything looked hopeless. This is the lesson, my dear sister. When Allah is with you, you are never truly alone. The problem is that we often search for complete emotional fulfillment from people instead of Allah. We expect human beings to heal wounds only Allah can heal. We become devastated when people fail us because our hearts became too dependent on them. But Allah sometimes allows disappointment from people so we can redirect our dependence back toward Him. Because people may leave, but Allah never abandons His servants.